I said that to her, that you are probably the most amazing action actress Bollywood has. So I was really proud of like the hard work she puts in for everything she does, and it's very inspiring to see that.
No, obviously I haven't seen Tiger, but that scene I have seen is called Over, and it's outstanding.
Can I say that I have seen Tiger? And I think it was, I saw it in Riyadh about 10 hours before it released in India, and it was a theatre which was completely full. Not only NRIs, but a lot of local people, and when Katrina comes on screen, she got the talis more than Salman did. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. And especially in the towel scene, that famous thing, yeah.
Meghna, I'll tell you a short story about Vicky, then we'll get into the details of Sam. You know, I met Vicky for the first time on the sets of Love Per Square Foot, the producer of which is a dear friend of mine, a friend of ours. And, you know, we met a bunch since, and, you know, both my wife and I were just, you know, we just loved him. We just said, this guy is such a nice person. He's just so down to earth, humble, and he's so committed to his craft, and he works really hard. And the one thing that just kept coming out when you talk to Vicky is just how nice a guy he is. And, you know, and then when 2019 happened, biggest blockbuster of the year, and, you know, he sort of was publicly dating the most desired woman in India. So when when Kanika and I kind of spoke, we said, this guy, ye to gaya. Like, you know, like we didn't, but he's stuck. He's still the same guy. He's still humble. He's still down to earth. He's still. Does that, you think, come in the way of sort of, does that make it harder for him to be this star? I mean, because he is a star. Today he walks on, he's one of the few stars who's actually nice.
So if, I don't know about him, and I think we pretty much think the same way. I think if he had to choose between being a nice person and a star, I think he'd choose being a nice person.
Yeah.
Yeah, every day.
Super.
And I think that's his best quality. 3 reasons why he popped into my head to play Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. One was his nose. 2 was his acting prowess. And 3 was because he's a nice person. And that has to come across on screen, because costume, makeup, wigs, all of that are external accoutrements. Your niceness the camera will catch. And that actually, I think, is what would bring across the Field Marshal spirit a lot more, because that's what he was as well. So being an inherently nice person has also helped his performance a lot.
I see.
On this one.
Interesting. But, you know, it's a question I've asked a few times to a few people, and I'm very curious about it, is stardom, what it is today. And, you know, I've not met nice stars. With the exception of Vicky, I've not met a star who's just nice.
I've never heard him really implying on something so much. Like in 30 seconds, he said that 15 times.
But does it come in the way, or like, I mean, how does he manage to do it? I mean, do you feel like stars need to have a certain sense of, you know, high maintenance, certain sense of, you know, being able to work a room in a certain inauthentic way? You know, I think when I'm saying the word nice, I'll replace the word nice with authentic. You know, Vicky's a very authentic person. Is it possible to be a star and authentic generally? I mean, because he's obviously maybe sounds like the exception.
I think it should be prescribed. Whether it's possible or not, I don't know, but it should be prescribed. Because, you know, I think people, the audience, they sniff artificiality. And that comes in the way. I mean, your stardom can be one thing. Look, stardom, I honestly believe, having seen it very closely as a child, even when the world was very different. My mother was a star in her own right, with no social media at that time. Right. So that was just pure and raw stardom that she had. Stardom can often be created, inflated, affected. The true sense of it is when, like he says, when you're walking through an airport and the guy at the security check, the soldier at the security check or at the X-ray will talk to you, recognize you, appreciate your work. You're standing in a hotel lobby somewhere and somebody will come up and speak to you, not because you're a star, but because they genuinely have this affinity for you. So I think stardom also is different things to different people. For him, I think it is getting the adulation and the approval of his audience for his work, more than the trappings that stardom is also known for. Please correct me, stop me whenever you feel I'm going wrong. Yeah. No, please. I mean, it's a very personal interpretation of what stardom is or should be. But I mean, I don't see his lacking or wanting in any way.
Can I take you back to a little bit, like, a few years back when you were not a star, when you just started off, and you do come from a film family, but there are film families, and there was a lot of the N word that is floating around in the ecosystem, and you chose to do. I mean, I know that you worked with Anurag Kashyap in Gangs of Wasipur. You were behind the scene, and you've done a couple of roles before you came to Masan. Behind the scene, and you've done a couple of roles before you came to Masan, which is Neeraj Ghewan's film, and in that film, I think your character completely blew me away, because here's a boy from Bombay who who makes me believe that he's always been in Banaras. He's always lived in a family which has they burn the dead for a living, and the lehja with which you picked up. So I was, like I said, I think it was a great breakout film. I wondered what was your process before you came to that film. What were the thoughts that brought you to that film and convinced you to do it in the way you did it?
At that time, ma'am, I was simply a boy who was not getting options and choices on a platter. What work would you want? What do you want to say a yes to, and what do you want to say a no to? So I was just a boy looking out for opportunities, a very hungry and a very stubborn boy who was just wanting opportunities. Masan happened. I gave an audition and I got selected for that part. And when we went on to that journey, it was a film, apart from Richa Chadda and Sanjay Mishra ji on that film, it was everybody's first film, including technicians, including the actors, including the director, including the editor, everybody's. So it was getting made with a lot of purity, if I can say, and a lot of, what's the English word for alhadapana? Like it was just like a lot of novices coming together with a lot of passion, and that breakout opportunity that we've all gotten, and we're just very, very excited about this, very passionate about this, and with the attitude of nothing to lose. So we went there, and I knew that it was a completely alien world to me. Banaras, of course, we had shot Gangs of Wasipur over there, but I did not immerse myself in Banaras, that the language, the culture, and especially the Dome community where I had to be a part of. That guy has only seen that in his life, and he wants to venture out and get out of that world and probably explore new opportunities for himself. So of course my preparation for any role starts with the director, because it's a director's medium. Neeraj Ghewan and Varun Grover, the writer of the film, they had spent a lot of time in Banaras. Varun is from BHU, he studied there, so they were really well versed with the culture over there. So I spent time with them. I went to Banaras about 3 weeks before we started shooting, and I tried to just be one with the place. Apart from learning the language, the culture and everything, I remember that one thing I used to do is I had an audio track with me, which was just Ram Naam Satya, Ram Naam Satya. And I used to put that in on my headphones, and I used to try and go to sleep on that music. Firstly, it used to be very haunting, but I tried, because that boy, Deepak, it must have been his lullaby, because he's only lived there. And just because if he doesn't get there, get that sound, probably he's not able to sleep. So that's where I wanted to push myself to. Spent a lot of time at the cremation ground. I remember the first time I went there, I couldn't sit there for 15 minutes. But then I was eventually able to spend days over there, have a cup of tea right next to a burning pyre, and say that isme shakkar kam hai. So it was just surrendering to that whole world, not knowing what's going to come out of it. And I was really surprised. It's the first time I actually felt like, your job is to give something to the character, but what ended up happening was the complete opposite.
Character gave you.
Yeah.
With Sam, and as somebody who's seen
Humbling to know that you're still sitting here. Really. Thank you.
the Josh is high. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. The fear when you did the first film, I feel like when you do something the first time, there's a certain fear that pit in your kind of stomach when you do something the first time. Do you feel that with Sam? Because it was so much of an immersive experience for you to go and kind of pick up something, it's a very different role. It's a very unusual person also. Was there a fear that kind of also there in you when you started off? Or?
Every day on set. Every day. Because just the magnanimity of the glory is left behind, the legacy is left behind. The more and more we got to know about him, what he's done, all the things that have happened to him, and how he's come out as a winner in every situation. I see there's a certain kind of responsibility that you feel when you are wearing the Indian Army uniform for what you're representing.
Yeah.
And then it's Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw's uniform. It was a whole new kind of, I used to make a conscious decision when I used to leave my van and go on set that I'm not gonna for 1 second indulge in the thought that to remember what man you're playing. I would just believe that I am that man. And I went with that conviction, because the moment that thought would come that the Field Marshal Sam, I tried to make him my friend. I tried to make him like my own, so that magnanimity never made me nervous, because that would have affected my confidence.
But Meghna, I was telling you, one of my favorite films of all time was Razi. I think you were incredible in that film. You weren't in the movie, but you were.
And he said that to me multiple times.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Thank you.
I really think that the gentleness with which you approach the characters, it was just something so spectacular. And Vicky obviously just as always outperformed, out-delivered. But what was that difference between thinking about Razi versus Sam? I feel like in my sense is that when I saw Sam, you were in devotional love of Sam. I feel like in Razi, you weren't in love with you loved their stories, but you didn't love the character. Maybe I could be. Am I right in that assessment?
No, it's not that I didn't love her. I empathized. There was a lot more empathy than love. There was also a lot of grey in the character, right? She was not only black or white. There was a lot of grey in her, but to treat that grey gently so that there is redemption at the end of the film, you have to empathize with the character and the decisions and the choices she's making. With Sam, there is reverence, and only reverence. There is no black, no white, no grey. There is just pure reverence. I can't feel any other emotion there. It's just because of the person that he is, or maybe how I've absorbed him or internalized him. And so that was my approach in writing the film, in executing the scenes, in looking at him in every shot. I mean, I don't know whether everybody will notice it, but my camera is never at his eye level. It's always looking up at him.
I didn't know. Very interesting.
It's always looking up. It's always low looking up, because...
And he's got the slouch.
And he's looking down at all of us. Yeah.
I wanted to actually ask you, Meghna, a couple of. Can you hear me now?
No, just speak a little louder and hold it closer to your mouth.
Okay, can you hear me now? But I want you. Then I'll give it back to you, because I want. Can you hear me now at the back? Okay, I wanted to ask you, Meghna, a couple of years ago when I had reached out to you for my book on Irfan, I had asked you about your journey, and I had asked you about how you had started making movies like Filhal, and then many years there was nothing, and then you were in a very deep, dark place, you told me, and then something happened and you got Talwar. Tell us a little bit about that, because you've been for so many years there was silence, and then there was depression in your own words, and then there's something happened. What was that something that happened? Yeah.
I'll say it a little louder. I'll say it a little louder.
Have the mic.
I think I got your question.
Okay.
I think you were asking her
What
what changed after Filhal and Talwar, right?
There was many years of a gap.
There was many years of a gap between.
Yeah, 15 years almost. So what happened?
15-year gap
Yeah.
between Filhal and then Talwar.
And so what happened during
what happened
those
in those 15 years?
And what was that one thing that got you back into the groove?
So I just said this earlier today also. We have BC and AD. My life is before Talwar and after Talwar. That's how I divide my life. The first 15 years of my career from the release of Filhal, the films didn't meet with success, and when your films don't meet with success, getting work is difficult. It doesn't matter what your surname is. So that is my explanation for the N word that people keep throwing at us all the time. What switched on was Vishal Bhardwaj. It was him who threw the idea of Talwar at me. I thank my stars that I said yes in a blink. And I think what changed was the stories that I began to tell after that. So the stories became real, they became tougher, made me work harder. And I think that's what started working with the audience that was watching my films. So I really can't say that I switched on something in myself. I think it's the stories that found me that changed something in me. Yeah.
It is such a tough story to handle. It is something that breaks your heart every single time you think about that little girl and about what happened to her. I wonder what was going through your mind as a mother, and as a filmmaker. I wonder what was it that made you say, yes, I will do this, and yes, I will try and be honest to every side. I wonder what was that one thing?
I was following the case like everybody else was, and I was also constantly flipping between what I was believing. I was believing what I was being fed when I was being fed it. So when we were being told that the parents were guilty, I was believing it. When I was being told that it was actually not the parents but the household help, I was believing it. And then suddenly everything went silent on it. And that's when this idea came from Vishal sir. And I was like, of course, I would want to understand what actually went down. I was not only a mother, I was also a daughter. So it was very difficult to execute with having any kind of emotional investment in the film. So there was just complete clinical objectivity. For me, they were characters. It was not a real incident. I had not even met Rajesh and Nupur. I had not even met them when we were making the film. It took me about 3 months to process that after the release of the film, that this was real, these people exist, and that's when, kind of like the redemption of it happened with me, the resolution of it. It was not easy.
But I think what happened is you became more of a journalist.
Actually, yes, because it was important to just put. What was happening was that when the information was coming out, it was coming out over a period of 8 years. All we did was put it all together, both sides of it, in a concise timeline, and then we left it to the audience. We leave it to you. You all decide, because even we don't know the truth.
Yeah.
Even we don't know what went down.
But you've been doing like a lot of reality since. I mean, Chapak and even Sam. So somehow journalism seems to have bitten you without you knowing, I guess, is what kind of seems to have happened.
The thing is, my stories choose me.
Yeah.
It seems like a design, but it's all coincidence that they're all true life.
If we go back to Sam, and I remember my first war film that I saw was Border. And looking at Sam now, I feel like in a sense, war movies have come a long way, Vicky, from Border to Sam, right? And I think, if I look at, by the way, I finally saw Uri.
You did?
I saw Uri.
Okay, so I just want to share something with you guys. Anand is the only guy whom I call my friend even after he's not seen Uri.
Yeah.
He saw it now,
I have to.
before this session, because I told him I'm not doing Adda if you don't see Uri before this. I was like, I don't care if you watch Sam or not, but this is long pending.
So I saw Uri, and I totally understand why it was that huge blockbuster. It was an incredible. Okay, I was gripped. I was at the edge of my seat. It was fantastic, and what acting as always. So I'm not. But you know, if I can just compare a Border or even an Uri to, wow, that's love. Even an Uri to a Sam Manekshaw, or even Razi. It's very clear in Uri. It's very clear in Border. You know who the bad guys are and who the good guys are, and it's very simple. Obviously, you know, we know whose side you're on when you're making Sam Manekshaw. We know whose side you're when you're making Razi. But there's a certain sense of otherizing and villainizing that Border and Uri did, which your war films haven't done. Is that a conscious thing? Is that just you as a person that you don't alienate somebody?
No, it's not about alienating. I often believe that a person is who that person is purely because of circumstance. Which side of the circumstance you are on makes you either the hero or the villain. And the person who's calling you a hero or a villain, it depends on that person's perspective. Again, if I'm standing on the other side and looking at something, I can say this person is not a villain. So it's a very subjective thing. With Razi, I honestly believe that there is no hero or villain because, again, when Sehmat is doing what she's doing, she's a hero in somebody's eyes, but she's a villain in that family's eyes who she's destroying, right? So there's always two sides to a coin. With Sam, there is no scope for villainizing anybody. It's not that story, and he's not that man. You know, I mean, he didn't do it in his lifetime. I can't do it in his film.
No, I mean, he fought, like, he was in 5 sort of...
He did, but he fought to defend his country without villainizing his enemy. Otherwise, the treatment that he gave to the 93,000 prisoners of war that we had would not have been given if he was villainizing those people. He treated them with humanity and with respect that a soldier merits. So there he was not villainizing them. It's very clear.
And Vicky, do you
What?
There's like a serious battle going on over here. The louder we are getting, the louder it's getting.
After you, Anand, I want
So
to
sweet
ask,
of you guys. Thank you.
I don't know.
Very nice.
I honestly, can you hear me? Can you
I
hear
hope the
me?
camera is capturing the background there.
After
Go
you.
ahead, go
Okay. So Vicky, I have a question for you. Okay.
That's all right. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Everybody's been saying, it's quietened down a bit. Okay, everybody's talking about how you're such a nice guy, right? And that's how.
Only he is. Only he is.
Okay, all right. So,
I thought Katrina also called you a nice guy. So.
but you did Raman Raghav, okay, which was immediately, which is such a dark character. And where does all the niceness go to? That's one. And the second one is when you talked about yourself as being very stubborn. I want you to tell us a little bit about what you meant when you said I was a very stubborn guy right in the beginning. So 2 things.
First question was regarding Raman Raghav.
Yeah.
And the second was regarding me calling myself a stubborn actor.
Guy. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me? So, guys, welcome to the concert of Adda. It's no more an Adda session. Okay, so the first question, is it leaking?
Come, if I could drag a chair here. Go ahead.
See, that's how we interview for a military film. That's how we give tribute to the Indian Army.
Yeah. And you can make out by just how comfortable Vicky is right now that he's trained for 2 war films. You can make that out very easily.
A little bit of rain is not going to faze you. Right?
Not at all.
Okay.
But okay, so the first question was regarding Raman Raghav. Raman Raghav 2.0 was a film I had done, which was directed by Anurag Kashyap, which was a very dark film. I was playing a cop, which my mother was very happy about, but I did not give her the details of what kind of a cop he is. A very dark and twisted story about a cop and a serial killer. So she asked me about how he was saying how much of a nice guy I am and how was I able to play that. So to be very honest, I still feel that that's my worst performance till date. Because
I agree.
you agree,
I
right?
agree,
I am
yeah.
not surprised. Because I just felt like I hadn't lived enough experiences to fully get into the depth of that guy. And that is one role I feel every 5 years of my life I will play it differently and I will play it better. Because of the complexities of that person. I fortunately come from a very protective upbringing, a very secure upbringing, and that is not what his life was. And at the age of 25, when I was playing that part, there was a little bit of a gap that I had to fill to understand that, and that bridge I today in retrospect feel that I couldn't cover. So I tried my best, but I still feel like there's a lot more I can do today if I get that role. Second question was regarding the stubbornness.
Yeah.
When I first thought that I want to be an actor, it was when I was doing my engineering. I had not graduated. This was about 2007, 2008. I said that okay, after finishing my graduation, I'm going to pursue acting and not do anything related to engineering. At that time also, I did not have the confidence that I want to be an actor. I want to tell this to anybody that I want to be an actor, because at that time, actors were launched, stars were launched. Today, fortunately, we are in a time where an actor comes in a film and he does 2 good scenes and you will Google his name out. Okay, who was that actor? Oh, we saw this actor somewhere, and he will get better opportunities after that film. In 2010, when I started off, that was not the environment at all. It was not the environment for a film like Masan to come out. So at that time, what I mean by saying that I was a stubborn actor is that when I used to go for auditions and I would say that I want a role, I want an opportunity, I want to be I am an actor, I sometimes would be at the receiving end of, like, you know, a person checking me out, like scanning me from top to bottom, that, oh, and that's when I would be even more confident and say I want to be an actor. So that stubbornness was actually what gave me confidence more than proving a point to the other person. I wanted to prove a point to myself when I was not getting any opportunities, that do it because you love it, do it because it gives you happiness, and things will change, and things did change.
Super. I think we'll ask a couple more questions. We get to the audience. Yeah. Well, we're all actually. Just imagine one of the scenes of Sam Manekshaw happening right now.
This is by design.
By design. Yeah, we're giving a 3D experience. By the way, we have somebody who served in the same regiment as Sam Manekshaw with us.
Wow.
So I'd asked him to come in and kind of. So, sir, you're very comfortable in this environment. You're used to it, so you're okay. We'll ask you to make a comment in one bit. Meghna, the craft of filmmaking, and Vicky, both of you. It's become like when you make a movie now, you're kind of like making a FMCG product, like a shampoo or like an instant noodle, because you're doing focus groups. You're sitting and addressing, like, you know, who the target audience is. You're asking very intelligent marketing questions now. Is that somewhere compromising on the pure form of storytelling, on the pure art form of filmmaking? Is that something you guys think about?
It all depends on who your producer is and what your conviction is. Sam Bahadur didn't go through any of that.
I see.
It didn't. And that only comes from the conviction of Ronnie Screwvala.
Okay.
Yes, films go through that. And it's important also because there is a lot at stake. There is high investments involved. There's a time and effort of a lot of people. And so to safeguard that, it's not a wrong thing necessarily.
Yeah.
Provided it does not distort the initial intent and vision that you set out to make the film with. Being armed with added knowledge is never a bad thing.
Okay.
This is going to go
Which side?
right over here.
Okay, a little forward.
This bubble.
थोड़ा सा आगे.
Yeah, so because the stakes are so high and the investments are so high, it's not necessarily wrong to safeguard it. But if it starts distorting the product, the content that you initially intended to make, then it's a problem, which does happen sometimes. But again, it just purely depends on the conviction of the producer and the studio,
You know, Vicky
and
was
the
saying,
stubbornness of the director.
and Vicky was saying about how he didn't have that experience with what was the movie name you said? With Raman Raghav. He didn't have that experience in order to play what that guy had gone through, the character had gone through. You know, the audience also needs to resonate with the character in a certain way. And in India, there's so much diversity now, especially, I mean, identity has changed a lot, right, compared to what people used to identify themselves as 50, 60, 70 years ago. So when you're thinking about audience, and this identity is constantly shifting, and it's so diverse. As a director and as an actor also, Vicky, do you kind of sometimes feel like short audience, like just like do my craft, like to do what I want to do, what comes to my heart? Or do you sometimes feel like there's somebody I have to appeal to, there's somebody, there's some identity I have to match somewhere?
To be very honest, in those regards, the job of an actor is much simpler than that of a director, because from an actor, all that is expected is honesty. Of course, during marketing and campaigning for the film and promoting a film, that's a whole different aspect of filmmaking. But what my job is between action and cut, to play that character, it is only the honesty of that emotion, the truth of that emotion that I have to hit. At that point, if the truth has reached the audience, that is what they are wanting. That in that black box, when they're sitting and watching that film, they need to see that character. That is where my focus is. Of course, when it comes to marketing a film, it's a whole different drama which I'm still trying to understand, and I think I'll take 50 years to understand that. But when it comes to making a film, I mean, I'll let Meghna talk about that process, which it's a huge task, man.
Sorry, huh?
It's going to collapse any minute.
Okay. Okay.
Wouldn't that be great for the interview? Huh?
Should we just
Viral in a few seconds.
Huh? Can we just stand here for a bit? We'll take some questions from the audience, and then we'll just take some questions from the audience before. Yeah. Can I get a quick show of hands what the questions are? I can just start with the colleague with Sam Manikshaw's colleague first. If we can get the first question. What do you want me to do?
No, the first
Make a comment about your experience. And
observation I have.
hold the mic close to you.
First observation I have is one of the first photographs you flashed of the field marshal. He's without a belt. He was never without his belt.
You're going to get a lot of this.
I don't even know what photograph.
Yeah, it's one of the promotion.
Secondly, I remember when he came to us in Shillong, and most of us young officers gathered around him in the bar and said, "Sir, we must be removed from have a change in location." So he said, "Why?" "Sir, it rains here all the time and it's not good for training. We confined to the barracks, it's cold. This is not much of a place. We can't get out of the unit lines." So he said, "At your age, I don't see why you should feel the rain or the cold or any such hardship. Come on, get off."
Super. Also, I think Maya's here with us. Maya, there she is. Yes, wonderful. So this is Sam's daughter, and this is we're gonna. So no, I'll ask you a question, and you tell me whether. My first question: have you seen the film yet?
Yes.
Okay, and is there what was that one moment in the film that you think was where you felt like proud of your father's story being told?
Honestly, I feel proud of my father every day,
Yes.
every minute.
Yes, but in the film, what was that one moment?
Can I take it a little somewhere else?
Sure.
See, pride will always be there. They have made the film to make the country proud of whatever it was. But the time that I tear up, every time, I've seen the film twice now, and I've teared up both times, is the last 2 seconds of the film. When you turn to the audience and you're smiling. That just kills me every time.
Super. Thank you for being here, and thank you so much for just taking the time and interacting with us. It's lovely
We've
to
got
have
to
you.
stop meeting like this.
100%. I totally agree, Maya. But listen, guys, for the last 2 seconds, you'll have to watch the entire film.
I'm going to ask you two questions, please.
Thank you, ma'am.
The mic there. The mic. Go ahead. Amish, you have to say something. You made the trip, and then
Good evening.
you have to say something.
Good evening to all of you over here. With due respect to General Ashok Krishna and all, I am General Siddha from 5th Gurkhas. I want to ask Vicky Kaushal, how much of Gurkhali have you learned? Can you speak Kasto Hununcha?
All I know is, Timro naam ke cho?
Ore brar, mero naam Raj Siddha cha, Hajur ko naam Vicky Kaushal separate acha.
Mero naam Vicky Kaushal cho.
Yeah.
And,
So glad to hear. I
and,
just want to say one thing.
theek bhai hal cha.
I'm here to tic tac cha bilkul. I just want to say one thing. When I went to Stavaka, I went twice to his house with my wife when I was doing my staff college. And he took all the ladies to the bedroom and he shared a secret. Ladies, you know one thing, I could never salute with a baton when I became old. So he had a replica with him. So I have a photograph of that baton which he always carried with him, which was the replica of the actual baton, because he says, Kancha, at 81, I can't salute with that baton.
Wonderful.
So he has got
Very
a replica which is in his bedroom on the first floor, and there was a small lift which could take his toast and omelets and bread from the kitchen to his bedroom. And he never took all of us. He only took the ladies there.
Wonderful.
And that
sir.
was Field Marshal Manekshaw. And one last thing is, we adore him because he always said one thing: never be a yes man in the armed forces.
He said,
It's an act of cowardly
yeah.
things. If you call yourself a yes man, be yourself, and that is what we have learned in the armed forces, to be professionally arrogant and call spade a spade. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm putting Amish on the spot and asking him to come. He's just, guys, everybody knows Amish Tripathi. He was actually our guest at an Adda a few
Hi
years
guys, how
ago.
are you? I'm an author, but I actually have a Sam Manekshaw story
Oh, wonderful.
of my own. I don't think you knew this. I'd studied at Lawrence School, Lovedale, where the Field Marshal had studied as well, and I was there in the early 80s. And the Field Marshal had actually come for the march past, and I was a part of the marching parade. So I had the honor of marching and saluting, and the Field Marshal himself was saluting at all of us boys. Of course, we did the best we could, but we actually got the opportunity to salute to the Field Marshal, and he saluted us back because he was also from Lawrence School, the same school that I was in. So I am, of course, a huge Sam Manekshaw fan. From that age, my entire family was.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And I'm a huge Vicky Kaushal fan as well. So to get to see them both in one movie, thank you, Meghna. Probably will be one of the best moments of my life when I see the film. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Sir, this side, left hand side.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, my name is Kuldeep Bataria, and there is no need to explain that I am a big fan. My towel is already saying that.
I was just going to say this session is looking like a tribute to that towel fight scene, huh?
Sir, I am a poet, author, and columnist, and I'm a teacher also. So I would like to ask a question: that what is the biggest motivation to you
Like in life?
in your career or life, both, or your work-life balance? What is the biggest motivation? I would like to.
My biggest motivation is, I think, just this love that I get from the audience, which you just want to keep getting multiplied. It's really what we work for. Apart from all the calculations and box office and all of that, what really gives us a good sound sleep is this really. I remember the first time I got called by the character name that I had played. I will forget box office numbers, but I'll never forget that moment. You know, so this is what I live for. This is what we work hard for, to entertain people.
And I would like to add one thing also. What is the formula to manage the work-life balance for Vicky?
To manage
Work-life balance.
सर अभी तो काम करना शुरू किया है, अभी फॉर्मूले में ये इतने एक्सपीरियंस लोग यहाँ बैठे हुए उनको फॉर्मूला पता होगा, मुझे तो अभी मैं ढूंढ रहा हूँ फॉर्मूला.
Today's question to you.
अभी तो ये जितना काम सच्चाई से कर सकूं, जितना अच्छा काम कर सकूं, जितने अच्छे डायरेक्टर्स के साथ काम कर सकूं, जितने अच्छे इंटरव्यूज दे सकूं और जितने अच्छे लोगों से मिल सकूं, बस that's my formula. Thank you, sir.
Please, right here. Then
Vicky, a personal question. How do you get through moments of self-doubt?
By not indulging in them because it scares me and I don't know, it's just like I really I'm a huge believer in destiny and karma, so when I do intend to indulge in self-doubt, I rely on destiny and karma. It's like yaar kisi ka kuch nahi bigada, I'm a nice guy so God has better plans for me. I'm not capable of knowing the answer of the situation, but maybe He has, and of course He has, and He's always taken me out of those situations. So I just focus on what needs to be done and keep going at it.
that's me.
In fact, I loved you the best in Sanju.
Sorry, ma'am.
Loved you the best in Sanju.
Thank you, ma'am.
It was really
Yes.
too good. But the only thing is that doing a movie like Sam Manekshaw, is it intimidating, difficult? Because actually to get into the character, you have to really maybe treat yourself in a very different way. Because in fact, I'm sitting next to her and I'm feeling very empowered. I wonder when you are actually doing him,
Look at her.
it must be really feeling good. By the way, I have an IPS officer, he also wanted to ask something.
No, it's
Not wanting to intimidate you anymore.
No, it was like I mentioned before. He's just left such a legacy that it just seems like a big task for an actor to pull it off. And it's first I was really happy about the opportunity I got, and the times I would get to know the details about his life, I would be like, oh man, this is a massive responsibility. So it was intimidating, but at the same time, it was probably the most fulfilling experience as an actor. It was.
I just wanted to address your concern about the field marshal never being without a belt. This was a question that was asked to me.
Oh wow, this is superb.
There's a picture of him with his sweater out without a belt.
Meghna, you have become a journalist. Just accept it now. You are a journalist. You're not a filmmaker anymore. Can we get a mic at the back, please? The lady. I'm trying to get the people. Can we get a mic to the lady at the back,
I'm
please?
Dr. Ananta Raghuvanshi. My dad is also an army veteran, and we absolutely adore all the work you do. I think you've been a trailblazer as far as women directors are concerned. Just keep doing the amazing work and keep taking out the best out of people like Vicky. Congratulations. We are definitely going for the first show for this movie. Of course, Mr. Manekshaw, General Manekshaw, Field Marshal Manekshaw, he's just been Sam uncle for all of us, come from a family of army veterans. So huge respect for all of you. And also you are kind of getting the new generation to get to know our legacy and to feel so proud about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I'm just trying to prioritize people who have gotten wet with the questions. There's a lady at the back with a towel. If we get a mic to her, please. Yes. Meanwhile,
So
yes.
you want to ask a question, just wear a towel.
Hey, Vicky, this side.
Yes, ma'am. Which side?
Well, hi, this side,
Hi.
in the front only.
There.
Questions, all right.
Okay.
Sorry, which side? Yes.
Go ahead,
there.
go ahead.
Hi, Vicky.
Hi,
I
ma'am.
met you in the morning in my institute when we had a wonderful interaction with these students. And I'm here sitting in this rain just because of your humility, your humbleness, and the way you interacted with these students so well. Big round of applause for Vicky.
Wow.
You're so humble, and as Meghna sir ma'am has already mentioned that you are so nice and simply proven
Okay,
you're
nice.
nice.
I love this.
One
Is
thing
there
I would
anybody
like
with a
to
tough question for these guys because they've all been
I would
so
like to mention in the morning, all the boys and girls, they asked the Vicky that, Vicky, where is Katrina Bhavi? So what he replied, I mean, it's amazing to know, he replied that your Bhabi is in Mumbai doing the show, doing the preparation for the shoot. And now I am here to meet my Bhabis. So wonderful. I mean,
Please
so
go
witty.
ahead.
Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Yeah, well, hello everyone. Primarily, I'm confident that I speak for everyone that it couldn't have been a better day. I mean, it's raining and still everyone, they're still waiting because, I mean, I think we haven't seen the movie yet, but still, we have seen you in other movies like Uri, and because of that, we know that you've already shown your mettle, and you are a perfect choice for the movie. So, like you mentioned in Masan, you followed that proper method acting thing, right? You used to listen to Ram Naam Satya, and you used to sleep with that thing. So, how do you get into the character of the chief marshal? Because this isn't an easy thing to do. So, what was the difference between the two movies? As in, did you find some similarity, or was it in contrast? Or is it easy for you to do a movie like that because you've already shown your mettle in a movie of similar kind before?
No, I don't think anything can prepare you to take up the job of playing Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. But this, if I have to put it in a technical way, this was a more research-oriented process rather than a method or kind of going somewhere or, you know. This was a lot of help was given to me by Meghna primarily because she had been researching about him on a script level, on a technical level, from the army's perspective, from the family's perspective for years before I joined her. I came to her 3 months before we started shooting. And then those 3 months, every day for about 5 to 6 hours, we would just talk about Sam. We would just try and crack his walk, his way of talking, all that he did. Like we would just gather as much information as we could. We are depicting his 40 years of service in the film, and that was the tricky part for me because all his video references, his interviews are all post-retirement when he was 75, 80. So just to crack how he would be talking in his young age, how he would be walking in his young age. So I have a lot of pictures of Sam sir, all that we could get from the family, the internet, the army, and kind of made like a data board for myself where I put together all the pictures of him sitting, all the pictures of him walking, all the pictures of him standing, and then we kind of made it a pattern that, okay, this probably could be his body language. And then every day in the office when I would come to meet Meghna, there are chartered accountants, there are assistant directors, production assistants, all sorts of people, and I would just keep walking like Sam. And they're like, what the hell is this guy doing every day he comes? So it was just like doing riyaz so that it becomes second nature when we start shooting. And yeah, it was just a constant process. But the toughest thing was to find his heart, to find that spirit, to find that wit, that humor, that aura that he had, which was just not limited to a uniform. So I have to give it to Meghna, who really held my hand through this, because otherwise it wasn't possible for me to, even attempt this.
Exactly, and thank you very much, the two of you, for bringing this beautiful beautiful story.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Vicky, this method acting thing, we've been hearing about it. I've been hearing about it a lot, especially. These stories somehow are bizarre, right? Like, I heard that Daniel Day-Lewis apparently, while playing Gangs of New York...
No, so that is method acting. Like, he's the guru of method acting. To be very honest, I'm not a big this thing of method acting because, tomorrow if I have to play a killer, I'm not going to, just to understand the role, I'm not going to do that. But, sorry? I'm too nice a guy. But the thing is, it is, for me, it's a tool that I could use for a specific scene, for a specific moment, but not as just like a general method for a role. I will never do that.
Okay.
Can I ask a tough question?
Yeah, please. We need some tough questions. Everybody's just loving them all the time.
I don't know. I've said I've said tough, but I've not. It's just a question which I've had. I think all of you, people who are in the creative pursuits and people who are reflecting upon the lives that we all live. And when you do a film like The Great Indian Family, right, which is such such an interesting concept of unity and diversity and the kind, and it sort of talks about the India that we used to be or are in the process of figuring out where that India has gone. I wonder what an actor like you, who has also done Uri, which is also which is all about patriotism. And when you do this kind of film, what is it, the thoughts that go in your head are sort of revolving in your head?
To be very honest, it's not at all complicated. I see a character, I see which world he belongs to, I see what is his conditioning and upbringing, and what is the arc he's covering in the film. that's what I follow. Because when I am living my life, I am living with whatever my upbringing was, whatever the conditioning I've had from the society, from my family, from my friends, and I discover my life every day. And that's how I approach every character. Once I know this is the film, this is the story, it's connected me on a certain level, and I would want to be a part of that story. Then every day I just go about approaching that character. Okay, this is his world, and this is how intelligent or sensitive or emotional he is at this point of time. And I just cater to that particular day for that particular scene. I don't keep in mind the climax when I'm still in the middle of the story, because that character is not yet so evolved and covered that arc. So what I do is, once I know what the script is, once I know what the story is, every night before the shoot tomorrow, I read the script till that point. And not, like, for example, Razi, for the most part of the film, I did not know, I wasn't aware of what Sehmat is up to. After the narration, after the first time I read the script, till we shot that scene where he comes to know, I never read what she's doing. I never ever read. I did not know. I did not even read for months. So, and I only read it on the day that I had to perform that scene, that I've just come to know that she's actually a spy. So I just try and crack. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Kind of, but I also wonder whether it is something that you are aware of the world around us, and does that sort of seep into the performance that you do? The awareness.
I try and keep that. I'm sure subconsciously it does, but I try and create the world of the character when I'm performing that character, more than letting my world come into the world of the character. It could be a completely different world, and I still have to justify that and not judge that world that the character belongs to.
So, I have one question.
I didn't hear that question.
इनके घने बालों का राज.
घने बालों का राज क्या है? No, I'll just push that question a little bit different way. And Meghna, maybe you can take the first shot at this. But when you're thinking about writing the character of a Pakistani army man versus an Indian army man, what goes through your mind? I mean, how much is the Indian flag in the back of your mind when you're writing that character, or is it just human, emotion?
I'm only writing the man. I'm actually only writing the man. Because when he has to react to what is going on with his wife.
Yeah.
At that point, I think any man in that situation, whether he was wearing a Pakistani uniform or an Indian uniform, would feel the same emotions.
Yeah.
Of betrayal, of heartbreak. So you need to first write the man and then put him in the uniform.
Interesting. Okay. So, yes, can we get a question here, please? Right here.
I have one question.
Where's the mic? Yeah, go ahead. Until then, get a mic here, then we'll do the rapid fire, we'll wrap it up. Yes.
Sure. Firstly, I'd like to thank both of you for bringing such movies, because it helps us generations to kind of connect to what had happened. I also come from, like, my granddad was in the army and he's fought all 3 wars, and it's just such a delight to, witness such movies later. I wanted to ask Vicky, since you've done, a couple of movies from the army background, and we know that, the defense professionals usually have certain traits or habits that define them. Is there something that you seem to be imbibing in your day-to-day life? Was my question. And I just want to ask Anant, which star has disappointed you so much?
That's a great question. Now that's a question.
So you first.
You want to take the first shot? Meanwhile, you'll think about it.
I'll think about it. No, which star disappointed me? Who cares?
You seem to be asking.
Okay, to answer your question, I think a lot of things. I think, firstly, their spirit. Like Sir said, calling a spade a spade. With Sam, the uniqueness was that he could do that and still make the other person smile and become a fan of him. But I try and do that, but I'm not reached that stage to end up making the other person a fan of mine. But I try and do that. Their discipline, their etiquettes, their manners, everything. I've not cracked it to that much degree, but I try and do that every day of my life. Ki yaar, thoda sa aur. But Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. But that does happen. That has happened to me after playing Sam Manekshaw. That so many times I'm at a crossroad and I'm conflicted in my mind that what to do, what not to do. So many different moments in my life, and I keep asking myself, what would Sam sir have done? You know, what would have he done? And that gives me a lot of courage to make decisions. So yeah.
Thank you both. I have two questions.
No, sorry, ma'am. Sorry. Your answer to that question.
Oh, sorry. Please,
Sorry.
carry on.
No, I mean, who's disappointed me as a star? I mean, there's nobody I've.
I have never seen him like this.
But
I have never seen him like this.
And Adda, no. I'll tell you the one community that always I feel more and
Going
more.
after a community, not a person now.
But I mean, I have to be honest. It always disappoints me. I think is the business community in India. I feel like generally, and no offense to all of them here, if anybody is, but I feel like they're always so scared of saying anything, and they're just always nervous. They don't open their mouths. They never. Yeah, I know iced. I know there's an iced. But I'll give you an example. I got very involved in the Bombay air pollution thing. I got personally very involved. I have a 4-year-old son in Bombay. And I called a few business people, There are people who've got 30,000, 50,000 employees in Maharashtra. And the boss just help us make some buzz about this, talk, tweet it, post it, create some pressure on the government to kind of act on this air pollution thing, because Bombay has done nothing, BMC has done absolutely nothing. And not one person did it. They were all like, yaar, hum kyun padte beech mein? I said, yaar, if you're going to be so nervous to put out a tweet of a news report, so I think I'm not answering your question of a star from Bollywood, but that's the only thing I could think of with one
That
person.
he's going to answer when he's got a businessman at Adda.
We're waiting for a long time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Meghna, my question is to you. So, we all agree the legacy of Sam Manekshaw, the movie should have been made, yes, absolutely. But I find that this timing of this movie is a bit suspect. We know how close Manekshaw was to Indira Gandhi, and they had a strong trust relationship. Right now in the political scenario in the country, how have you justified or managed to navigate this relationship? Has the relationship been handled in the movie, or have you escaped it somehow as a director?
So I think that's a little bit of an unfair assumption without having seen the film.
But have you? That's what many
the
of us.
timing of the film is suspect is a pretty loaded statement to make without having seen the film. One, it's the biography of a man. It's 4 decades of his life. It's not just 1969 to 1971 where Mrs. Gandhi was his prime minister. It starts from 1932. It's about his life.
But you've not answered the question.
I have answered your question. I have shown his dynamic with Mrs. Gandhi from the lens of it being the film on the life of Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw.
We'll see it on the weekend.
Sure.
Thank you.
Please, get a mic here also, the first row, please, then we'll get to rapid fire. Is there another mic back there somewhere?
Yeah, can I ask you?
Yeah, please go ahead, and then we get the mic here. Yeah.
This question is with Director Meghna. Firstly, you brought a good omen that there are a lot of rain, so a lot of pollution have gone down.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for that. The question is, ma'am, that there is one scene where Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam goes and meets Sam Manekshaw in the hospital. Have you captured that scene in the film? That is
so, sir, the timeline of the film, you have to tell a film in a certain amount of time.
Okay.
So the timeline of the film that we have shown is for the 40 years that Sam was in active service in his uniform, which is from 1932 to 1973.
Okay.
This incident that you are talking about happened much later, around 2005 or 6, if I'm not wrong. So this is out of the timeline of the film. If I ever make a sequel, I will certainly include
because
it.
It's a very inspiring conversation between
I know, I'm completely aware of it.
Yeah,
I'm completely aware of it. It's about him regretting not being able to get up and salute his chief commander of his army.
Yeah,
so I'm completely aware of that incident that you're referring to.
I'm going to watch this first day, first show. And
Thank you, sir. Thank
Please,
you.
yes, go ahead.
Appreciate it.
Congratulate you to making such a courageous move to make such a film.
Thank you, sir.
I am an army veteran, that's why
I can hear, yes,
Thank
go
you,
ahead.
Yeah.
Mics are on?
Sorry. Sure, why not?
I'll take you to a time when perhaps, I don't know, you may have had an exposure, you may have had opportunity to know a little more. I was a young captain posted in headquarters 4 Court, Tezpo. This was 64, 65. 64, 65. When the field marshal was already an army commander. So I remember I came on some, I had a girlfriend, let me be very honest. So I would go to one particular branch. I would be sent on courier duty to go to Calcutta. So very attractive girl who was a doctor in Fort William, where army commander was the army commander. Field marshal was the army commander. So this girl had managed to, they were getting some non-practicing allowance, and she said, I'll take you for a dinner to Blue Fox on Park Street. So 2 of us were sitting having a chat, and out of blue walks the army commander, field marshal, into the Blue Fox restaurant, which was very unusual thing to have happened. So he looked around, then he saw us, and he perhaps my haircut and a lady whom he must have seen because she was a doctor in Fort William. He made a beeline straight towards us, and we both got up. It looks at me, has he not seen you earlier? I said, sir, I'm here on a short duty. Oh, now I know the reason why you are here. I said, no, I'm on. Anyway, there was a little banter. After a while, his friend caught up, and he took his leave, and he sat on a different table. Now, I want to get back to tell you what a telegraphic memory he had. This was 1965 I'm talking about. 66. No. He became army commander, assistant commander in 66. No, little earlier. Gurkha, he was army commander somewhere in 65. We're not this right now. 65. Anyway, we could get mixed up on dates. So now what I am trying to tell you about his telegraphic memory. Now, in 1973, I was a young major in army headquarters, and there was a big some corps day, and he comes to Battle Honours Mess, and now I'm not with my girlfriend, I'm with my wife standing there. So he looks, and he would not stand at one place. Generally the senior officers would stand in one corner and people would go around them. Field Marshal would go everywhere. He would meet the junior most officers first. He comes towards me and looks at me. Seen you somewhere? I said, yes, sir. I reminded him, Blue Fox and Park Street. But this lady wasn't with you. I said, sir, she's my wife, but she knows the story. Oh, really? I said, yes, she can narrate it to you because I've told her. Now, imagine the kind of memory that he had. Now, I was a senior officer myself in Eastern Command, and Field Marshal had retired from the army, and protocol demanded that army would conduct him around if he is in town. So I was detailed to be his liaison officer. I was a full colonel that time. So I would go to the airport in Calcutta. I received the Field Marshal. We had lined up the army convoy to take him to the place. And he looks at me again. I said, sir. I said, yes, you should know me, sir. I am so and so. Yes, Tezpo. He remembered. Now, I want to tell you that despite the fact that he had become a field marshal, he had left the army, he used to come frequently to Calcutta, not that frequently, but definitely once in few months he would be there. And he would be... he
remembered
he was part of the corporate sector. He was, the board of directors or some lecture he would come to, and we would frequently get to see him. Now imagine in a span of 3 decades, he could remember. Little hint, the one I had to give him, you could see that he is trying to recollect.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Telegraphic memory.
Thank you for sharing.
He was a great soldier.
Thank you. I will have to wrap the question. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I just want to make a statement. Excuse me.
I have to do a quick rapid fire.
I just want to make a statement.
Short statement.
Yeah, very short statement.
Very short statement.
I had my seniors. I represent M. Ram from Connaught Place. We are basically a bespoke tailoring store since 1939, and my seniors had the honor of making some wonderful Harris Tweed jackets for Honorable Field Marshal Sam.
Lovely.
He used to love Harris Tweed jackets.
Sorry.
And
guys,
I would like to make one for you too.
Lovely. Thank you.
It's a bespoke jacket.
Thank you, guys. I'll do a quick rapid fire because I don't want to not do this rapid fire. It's always like the thing that gets shared around on Instagram, so I got to now do, you know.
This is the scary version of the popular rapid fire.
Okay. For you. No, for both. I'm starting with you, Meghna, because ladies first. Meghna, the one time you were angry with Vicky.
Today. Ask him why.
Why?
Tell him why.
अरे यार ये जो हाल है तो after like we did the college visit, we came back and we were doing photo op. She was not happy with my hair. She's like, बाल बिठाओ यार, बहुत यहाँ हो रहे, जाके नहाओ. So she does that, yeah.
Okay. The one time you've lost it on set.
We got some badges and ribbons wrong, and it was a serious mistake. Yeah.
Okay. The one scene or moment in the film that you're most proud of Vicky for.
So we were shooting the. Do I have to answer rapidly, or can I answer? Take my time.
If this balloon on top of us wasn't there, I would say take your time.
It's a long story. I mean, now come on. Okay, we were shooting the film backwards in chronology. So we were starting with older Sam and going into younger Sam because he needed time to lose weight and we didn't want to go into VFX and all of that. Okay. So I think on the 6th or 7th day of our filming schedule, of an 83-day schedule, he has done his retirement scene in the film. And to commit at that point to how this person would be, how he would be reacting at the culmination of his journey in the film, to commit to that on the 5th day of the shoot of the film and to do it the way he did was, for me.
So since you're taking more of a journalistic, sort of bent of mind now, I'm going to ask you, if you were forced to make a movie on any of the following events that the Indian Express has played a significant role in, what would you choose? Bofors, Panama Papers, The Emergency, ICICI Videocon transactions?
The Emergency is already being made, so that one is out of my purview. No, the others are very boring.
Okay. This is why more people watch Bollywood than read newspapers. So.
No, find something else. I'll do happily.
Okay. If you get a chance to remake one classic film, what would it be?
You don't touch classics. I'll never remake one.
The one perk of being Gulzar's daughter.
Perk. Still have to find one. But yeah, I have a lyricist on call, on demand, 24/7 for me when I'm making my films.
Can I also give an anecdote over here?
Yes.
It is the most fascinating thing I've ever seen. I don't know if I can share this, but I will. Sorry.
Yeah.
We are on set. Untimely rains. And we're like, shoot रुकी हुई है, सब कुछ हुआ हुआ है. She doesn't carry her phone when she's shooting a film. I see her with a phone. I was like, what's going on? Who is she calling? And she's texting. I was like, who are you texting? It's like, Papa. And I was like, अच्छा क्यों सब ठीक है? नहीं बारिश हो रही है ना. तो मैंने कहा तो इतनी मैं हमेशा जब बारिश होती है मैं पापा को मैसेज करती हूँ पापा बारिश हो रही है हटा दो. And the best part is he replies कितना टाइम है मेरे पास? And she says half an hour. And he replies ठीक है मैं कुछ करता हूँ. This is a proper conversation. 30 minutes. The rains are gone.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I have no clue how it happens. It happens every time.
I don't believe this.
I know. Or maybe that's exclusive for a shoot only.
I didn't think of it. I should have.
He has a direct index to the rain.
Yeah. Meghna, Bollywood has a habit of flogging a dead horse. Which genre do you think has outstayed its welcome? Biopics, horror comedies, small town dramas, or any other?
I dare not say biopics right now. I dare not. No, I don't agree that horror comedies or even small town genre are, flogged yet, because there's always a different interpretation to them. So I would not take that.
Slightly tough question. You can duck it if you like, but Deepika, before Chapak, that when she went to that campus, did it make a difference to your film, you think, at all? Did it have any impact at all,
What do you think? I'm sure that answer is pretty obvious. Yes, it did make a dent on the film because the conversation went from acid violence, which I intended the film to amplify, to just, okay, I'm not crying, I have cold air coming into my eyes, so there's water coming out. So the conversation actually changed track and went somewhere else. So of course it impacted the film. Of course there was an impact on the film. There's no denying that. Yeah.
Okay, super. Vicky, your turn. I've got 3-pager rapid fire for you here. I've not had time to edit them down.
You've got a great handwriting, Anand. How are you reading that?
It's secret, only I can read my handwriting. Okay. What's the weirdest thing you've done to prep for a movie?
For Raman Raghav, I isolated myself for 5 days with no phones, no newspapers, no TV, no radio, no music, and it did not help me. I thought it would. The isolation would do something to me. I came out frustrated and I was like, I don't want this role. I don't want to do anything. But yeah, that was the stupidest thing I did.
What goes on in your mind when your co-actor shows up to set without having learned his or her lines?
Nothing. I'm too nice a guy.
Too nice a guy. The one Hindi film you watched that you wish you were in?
I've actually, if I've loved a film, I've never felt that I should have been in the film because I just love it for every aspect of the film. So I get inspired to do something like that, but I've never felt that I should have been in that film for that role. I don't know. Strangely, I've never felt that.
Okay. If Sam Bahadur were to meet Major Vihan Singh Shergill, what's the first thing he would say?
What's the first thing Sam sir would say? I would have to ask sir. Sir, what do you think he would say? Having being a Gorkha. What would he say if he met Major Vihan Singh Shergill? It's a film. He's a para commando in today's time.
If you've seen the movie Uri, you haven't seen Uri. Uri. So if Sam were to meet the major who was Vicky was playing, what would he tell that major?
Means that's the way the spirit should be.
Super.
All the very best.
Okay.
That's all regardless.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for helping me out.
Meghna, who does action better, Katrina or Vicky?
Katrina.
Okay. For both of you, you announced Sam's release before Animal did. Are you disappointed now that you've got another film releasing on the same day, or does it not make much of a difference?
No, see, the thing is, since there's been a cricket fever, I'll put it in context of cricket. When two opening batsmen come to the crease, playing for the same team, you're not saying that the two batsmen are clashing with each other.
Super.
They're playing for a single team. So we're playing for Hindi cinema.
Super.
While one player might hit the 4s and 6s, but the other player will be at the crease and take 1s and 2s and maintain the strike.
Super. I really hope this is the first time you're saying this answer. I've not seen every interview.
This is. You want to cut the trailer on this?
Super. Okay.
Who's doing the 1s and 2s and who's doing the...
That the audience will say.
Okay, since you went to cricket, you had to pick one biography to play. Who would you choose, Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli? By the way, if you all don't know, Vicky's a huge cricket fan, and we actually last met at a cricket, like watching the match. So.
Yeah, we watched the semi-finals together. The audience is saying Virat Kohli.
You think Virat? Okay. Two people said Virat, one person said Rohit. What's your answer?
Democracy, Virat Kohli.
ये क्या है ना, ये विराट के साथ सेम बिल्डिंग में रहता है, इसके लिए
So better, more access for research material, na?
Okay, if you had to pick one biography, who do you pick? Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Ravi Shastri, Dhoni or Ganguly?
Yeah, again a biopic?
Yeah, you're picking one. I made you pick between two, now I'm giving you 5 options. I've widened the options.
No, now I'm committed.
Okay, you have to pick if you play biography between Shah Rukh, Salman, Amir, who do you play? Okay. The internet calls you a green flag husband. What's the one red flag you worked on getting rid of?
So the biggest complaint that Katrina has always had, that I'm sometimes too stubborn. Too stubborn. That needed a little bit of moderation.
Okay, so Katrina, a few Katrina questions, and this is from Twitter actually, not from my thing, but I still wanted to ask you. The one thing you miss about being single?
I've said this before. See, the miss is now my missus, so it's all good.
Okay. Who's the one person you think Katrina has the best on-screen chemistry with, not you?
Akshay Kumar. I love Namaste London. Yeah.
And is it a conscious decision that you do not do interviews with your wife?
No, you've never called us.
Okay. Super. I have to thank the audience for just being so patient and just like waiting through the rain. Thank you all
Yes,
so
truly.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I have to tell you, I did have the chance of seeing Sam just 2 nights ago. I really think everybody should make the effort of going to watch it in the big screen because it just transports you to a world that is just, it's really an experience to watch. Meghna, thank you for making the time for being here. Vicky is my old friend, so I can say thank you to him second. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
And you know one thing?
Yes, sir.
You did the Kukri dance so very well.
That's one thing I learned.
Kukri dance, you know, Pali Siru Chali.
Yeah.
Hardcore Gurkha.
Yeah, I learned it from 10 Gorkhas at Lucknow. Thank you, sir. It was such an honor to do that. Thank you.
Thank you everyone. That was a great session, Anand and Shubhra. I would like to invite Dr. Rashmi Saluja, Executive Chairperson, Relicare Enterprises, to present Vicky Kaushal and Meghna Gulzar with bouquets.
I mean, he never followed rules. He was also wearing Air Force Base and you're supposed to wear OG. Right, so. Yes, sure.